Good afternoon. Fire crews are working to extinguish flames at a waste removal facility in Etobicoke.
The blaze broke out early this morning at the site on Shorncliffe Road, with dozens of firefighters called to respond. CTV's Mike Walker has been following the firefighting efforts and joins us live now with more. Mike.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, we can still see some smoke billowing from this waste removal facility that Toronto Fire says is used for construction material. At its height, this was a 3-alarm blaze with about 80 firefighters responding to the scene. I want to show you some drone video taken over the scene early this morning. In it, you can see several aerial trucks trying to get the fire under control as flames engulfed the facility. The fire broke out around 5 this morning. Toronto Fire say they were alerted after someone in the area noticed the smoke and called 911. Officials say no workers were on site when the fire broke out. The facility contained construction material and machinery. Here's more from the division commander on the challenges crews face when trying to get this fire under control.
The challenging part of this fire is we're not going inside the building, so we're using access holes with our aerial equipment. And as you can imagine, they're just piling the waste in there. So to get deep into the seat of the fire would be the challenging part.
Now, given the material inside the facility, there were some concerns about the air quality, and crews have been monitoring that and say at this point there are no concerns or issues. At this point, there's still no word on what may have sparked this fire. Crews are expected to remain on scene for up to the next 24 hours, continuing to monitor for hotspots. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Peel police are investigating a suspected arson after a tow truck was set on fire outside a Brampton home.
The incident happened in a residential neighborhood near Kennedy Road and Beauvais Drive. CTV's John Musselman has been following this investigation and joins us live with more. John.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, Peel Regional Police are classifying this as an arson. It happened on Muskoka Street here in Brampton. We'll show you some video taken last night. Now, we're told this truck was set on fire just before midnight here on Muskoka Street. Fire police responding to the area. I did have a chance to speak to some neighbors this morning. They say they heard a loud bang. They came out and they saw that the vehicle was fully engulfed in flames. Firefighters did have it under control rather quickly. We're told it did not spread to the home in this case. Now, we did speak to 2 people who came out of that home. They declined to speak to us about what happened here. We just know that it was a tow truck. Whether or not it's connected to what's been ongoing with the tow truck industry, that hasn't been confirmed by Peel Regional Police. At this point, they're just saying this is being investigated as an arson. We did speak to one neighbor who told us what he heard and saw. Here's what he had to say.
I heard just a bang.
Okay.
And then I went outside of the back to have a smoke, and I heard another 2 bang. And then when I came back in to put the alarm on, I saw all these lights outside.
Now, there's some debris on the driveway, some burnt debris from that vehicle. It has been removed from the scene for further forensic examination. Reporting live in Brampton, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Toronto Police Chief Myron Demke is expected to provide an update today on a shooting that targeted a Jewish-owned restaurant in North York. No injuries were reported after shots were fired at Old Avenue Restaurant on Avenue Road near Brook Avenue just before 1:30 a.m. Friday. Toronto Police's Guns and Gangs unit has been investigating. The update from the chief is scheduled for 1 p.m.
An investigation is underway after shots were fired near Victoria Park and Finch. Police were called to the area for reports of shots fired around 2:30 in the morning. They found evidence of gunfire, but no injuries have been reported. So far, police have not released any information about possible suspects, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward. And police have released an image of a suspect wanted in a sexual assault investigation in the West End. The suspect is described as 5'6" with a skinny build. He was last seen wearing a black hooded sweater, face covering, and black pants. Police say on Monday at around 10 p.m., they responded to the Bloor and Lansdowne area after a victim reported being sexually assaulted. The suspect was last seen running south on St. Helens Avenue.
A 77-year-old man is dead after being struck by a vehicle in Ajax. This happened last night in the area of Wesney Road and Bramwell Drive, just north of the 401. The man was rushed to hospital, where he later died. The driver of the vehicle involved, a 22-year-old woman, remained at the scene. The circumstances leading up to this man being struck are still under investigation. Meanwhile, a motorcyclist has been injured in a crash in the junction. Emergency crews were called to the scene of the incident between a car and a motorcycle. This was in the area of Dundas and Kiel around 6:30 a.m. The motorcyclist was taken to hospital with minor injuries.
Still to come, the latest on the ceasefire in the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. We'll have more on the agreement a little later in the newscast.
The Toronto District School Board says it's anticipating needing 300 fewer teachers this September due to lower enrollment. That's less than half of the more than 600 positions the elementary teachers of Toronto had suggested were on the chopping block. The TDSB says it takes a look at staffing needs for the upcoming school year every spring. Currently, the board says it's expecting nearly 5,000 fewer students this September. Meanwhile, a statement from Ontario Education Minister Paul Calandra reads in part, 289 teaching positions are potentially being reduced in the Toronto District School Board next year. The appearance of any reductions over and above that number are positions that were not filled in previous years as a result of declining enrollment. To be clear, these do not include positions of teachers working in the classroom right now.
The province is planning to extend workplace safety and insurance coverage to workers in privately run care facilities like retirement homes. The change is part of a broader set of updates to labor rules. The government says the facilities, which include foster homes, are currently not subject to mandatory coverage. The update will mean roughly 29,000 workers will now be protected if they get hurt or become sick on the job. That includes nurses, personal support workers, and resident care workers.
The Ford government is looking at rolling back some green initiatives when it comes to new developments. The proposed legislation means developers would no longer be required to add more tree canopy, electric vehicle chargers, bird-friendly window coatings, or other sustainable design standards beyond what's required for health and safety. The government says changing these municipal standards will lower costs and get projects built faster.
We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. There's a live shot of the city there, and we've got, again, clear skies. Cool, but temperatures are gradually rising. And if we look ahead to the next few days, we're seeing some pretty good temperatures, but there could be some rain as well. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, it looks pretty beautiful. Taking a look outside, gorgeous sunshine today, still below seasonal, but a little warmer already than we were at any point yesterday. Watching some snow make its way across the state of Michigan, but that is going to veer north, not impact us here in the south. We are, however, feeling the impact of a southeasterly breeze today, so starting to warm up as mentioned. We're at 2 degrees right now, again warmer than we got at any point yesterday, and today at a glance shows a forecast daytime high of 6 degrees. 10 is the norm. Tomorrow we're going to soar past that as far as the temperature is concerned, but we are looking at a little bit of active weather as we head toward the end of this week. We'll talk about rain versus snow and big picture long range. Is that a sign of a warm up next week? Details are ahead. For now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, the Conservatives are calling on the federal ethics watchdog to investigate the finance minister.
Conflict of interest questions are being raised over Francois-Philippe Champagne's connections to a government-funded high-speed rail project. CTV's Judy Trin has the details.
The office of Francois-Philippe Champagne says the federal government's past decision to fund Alto, a crown corporation developing a high-speed train line, happened before he was appointed finance minister.
The largest infrastructure project in Canadian history.
More than a year ago, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that $3.9 billion would be invested in Alto. Champagne became finance minister a month later in March 2025. His partner, Anne-Marie Godet, seen here walking beside him, was hired by Alto in August. Champagne says he proactively reported to the Ethics Commissioner and the Prime Minister his personal connection to Godet to safeguard against any real or perceived conflict of interest. He recused himself from voting and discussions.
The Minister of Finance has followed those rules and regulations in notification of the Ethics Commissioner, in recusing himself. This is a good situation because we have a partner who can pursue her career, the Minister of Finance who can do his responsibilities.
No new money was allocated in the budget that Champagne delivered, but he did announce that a faster timeline would be used to approve high-speed rail. The Conservatives are calling for the federal ethics watchdog to investigate the minister.
The legislation that benefits Alto was included in the finance minister's budget, and nothing ends up in the budget that the finance minister hasn't put eyes on or hasn't contributed to.
In an email seen by CTV News, the ethics commissioner confirmed that Champagne's relationship with Godet did not constitute a conflict of interest. Alto, as a Crown corporation, is accountable to the Minister of Transport, and Champagne, as the finance minister, has no decision-making authority over any Alto employee. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, it has happened again. Another floor crossing. Sarnia-Lambton MP Marilyn Gladue has announced she, too, will be joining the federal Liberals. Gladue has represented the riding since 2015 when she was elected as a Conservative MP. She says she's joining the Liberals because she believes it is the best thing for her community's priorities and the country. Gladue's defection means the Liberals can secure a majority government if they win one of 3 federal by-elections being held on Monday. The countdown is on to the FIFA World Cup, which is set to arrive in the city this June.
Today, a special celebration is being held in the Distillery District to give fans a taste of what's to come. CTV's Raheem Ladani joins us live with more. We're, 2 months left, Raheem?
Yeah, Nathan, we're just around the corner here, right? And so the festivities and really atmosphere is really picking up. We're here inside Illuminarium Toronto, which has been the host for a lot of great experiences. And so for FIFA, they have launched Canada Celebrates, a new initiative. And oh, things went dark real quick. I think another installation is about to start. Just hang out. There we go. Now we got some more light. Well, what's happening over here now is FIFA Celebrates is going across the country to make sure that fans can take part in the FIFA experience all throughout, leading up to and during the World Cup. We're just waiting for Adam Van Koeverden. He's taking some pictures. We're going to come on over. Adam, we're live on CTV News.
Right on.
Yeah, we just want to chat a little bit in terms of the importance of today. What does this mean for communities that explaining that, the FIFA World Cup is not just about being in Toronto and Vancouver, but it's for all of Canada?
Well, I don't need to tell Canadians that we have a huge country, and we wanted to make sure, the government of Canada wanted to make sure, and it was actually a priority of Prime Minister Mark Carney to ensure that the World Cup touches more Canadians, that we reach more Canadians with this celebration. So Celebrate Canada is all about making sure that we're making all those stops, and as you see all the small towns and cities running through in the brilliant way that they've demonstrated it here, it's very evident that we're achieving that by bringing the World Cup to 64 different communities across the country.
Some of the communities, just for our viewers to see, there's here in Ontario, there's Vaughan, Burlington, the Waterloo region, of course, Windsor as well, Niagara Falls, but it's also going to all of the provinces, even the Northwest Territories, Yukon. Those smaller communities to connect fans with the game, how important was that when making the decision to get this done?
Oh, it was absolutely critical, and we're thrilled that FIFA Canada came through. We're a proud partner with them. The government of Canada's priority was to make sure that, the Mississaugas are the Credit First Nation, and like you said, like the Windsors, the Quebec cities, the Fort St. John's and the St. John's all get a chance to celebrate the beautiful game this summer. This is the biggest event in the year, in the world this year, and Canada gets to host 13 matches on home soil, which is a unique opportunity, but we wanted to spread the love and make sure that we reach more Canadians, and that's what we've been able to manage with FIFA Canada and Celebrate Canada Tour.
Adam, thanks for your time.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you. So for fans, when they come down to any one of these stops across the country, they will be showing all of the games on the big screens. You bring your own chair and you can spend all day watching soccer. There are going to be interactive installations. There'll be live music, food, just a way to connect. This is in addition to the Fan Fest in the FIFA World Cup. So you can watch the games if you have a ticket. You can go to the Fan Fest, and now you can go to this Canada Celebrates initiative. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. I'll send it back to you both in studio.
Thank you, Raheem. We return now to one of our top stories. A Conservative MP, Marilyn Gladu, has joined the Liberals. And joining us now live from Ottawa is CTV's Rachel Aiello. So many now, I'm losing count. Rachel, what can you tell us about this latest switch?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those counting, it is now 5 floor crossers that Prime Minister Mark Carney has courted from opposition parties, 4 of them from the Conservative caucus under Poilievre's leadership, and 1 from the NDP. And as well, when we're talking numbers, they are now at 171 seats in the House of Commons. That threshold to hit a majority government is 172. So they are that much closer today to that majority government territory. Keep in mind, of course, those 3 upcoming by-elections next week would bring them over that threshold, and if they win all 3, a bit more comfortably. So obviously a massive pickup for Prime Minister Mark Carney today in securing longtime Conservative MP Marilyn Gladu as his latest Liberal MP. And I think we've got a bit of a clip here from the Prime Minister talking a bit more about it.
Very much looking forward to working with Marilyn. She brings tremendous experience as an engineer, a very long international business career, dedicated to the people of Sarnia. She's spent her whole career there, and of course a lot of experience as a politician. She's going to be a great member of our team, lots of energy, ideas, advice on a wide range of issues, including execution, getting things done. And this all comes at a time when the country as a whole is uniting to move forward, and it's important that over there we unite to move forward as well.
So we've also just seen MP Gladu meet Prime Minister Mark Carney in his office just off Parliament Hill. In that, she indicated her rationale for doing this, similar to what she wrote in her letter to constituents, indicating that she wants to be able to deliver for her riding, get things done, that she feels that she can better do as part of the governing Liberal caucus that she wasn't able to do as a Conservative.
Now let's talk about the shift in the political landscape. We have these by-elections on Monday, 2 of which are in Toronto, traditionally Liberal ridings. Does this make that Liberal majority a lot more likely?
I think it absolutely does. And even ahead of those by-elections, we're already starting to hear chatter here in the newsroom about the potential for there to be additional floor crossers between now and then. The Liberals have their National Party convention in Montreal this weekend. If they were to secure that majority government number, just 1 more floor crosser by then, that could be a very different gathering of Liberals than what it would be right now. But if that doesn't bear out, that there isn't another floor crosser between now and Monday, they have a chance to get that majority just that soon. So as you rightly mentioned, 2 of those ridings are Liberal strongholds. The Liberals are very much expected to win. And then, of course, there is the riding in Quebec that was very narrowly won, but still I know the Liberals are putting a lot of campaigning and focusing effort there. If they were to secure all 3 of those by-elections next week, that's 174 seats. It's still a thin majority, but absolutely a functioning one, and would provide stability for the Liberals, assurance that they'd be able to pass all of their promises, all of their bills, all of their policies in the House of Commons without worrying on every vote that they could fall on confidence.
What is the reaction from the Conservatives at this point?
So we have reached out to the Conservatives, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, for comment on this. I'm going to keep an eye out to see what we've got coming into our inbox. Obviously, emails are flying fast and furious at the moment, but it will be interesting to see what the caucus does, the Conservatives, because as we've seen with some other floor crossers, they have not taken so nicely to them, really calling them out, suggesting that they were going to need to answer to their constituents. So do they take a similar tact here or not is really, I think, something that we're going to have to watch for.
CTV's Rachel Aiello live for us in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, the United States, Israel, and Iran have reached a 2-week ceasefire in their war.
The agreement was reached last night after U.S. President Donald Trump pulled back from threats to destroy Iranian civilization. Trump says he will suspend the bombing of Iran for 2 weeks, subject to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. It's unclear what the terms of the ceasefire are, as Iran is insisting it would charge tolls to passing ships in the strait. The 2 sides will continue negotiations, working with Pakistan as the mediator. This morning, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth stated the U.S. military has achieved all its objectives.
Iran's Navy is at the bottom of the sea, whether it's the Soleimani class, their frigate class, their prized drone aircraft carriers, submarines, mine layers, sunk. Iran's Air Force has been wiped out. Iran no longer has an air defense, any sort of a comprehensive air defense system. We own their skies. Their missile program is functionally destroyed.
Meanwhile, Iranians took to the streets to celebrate the start of the ceasefire. A large group gathered in Isfahan, one of the cities hardest hit by U.S.-Israeli strikes. And CTV's Scott Hurst has been following the developments in the war and joins us live with more. So, Scott, how did they reach this temporary agreement with all that rhetoric?
Nathan, it really is a dramatic turn of events with all that rhetoric, as you mentioned, and global leaders are welcoming this ceasefire, putting out a joint statement also signed by Prime Minister Mark Carney, which, as I mentioned, welcomes the two-week ceasefire, also thanking Pakistan for helping to facilitate the important agreement. But in this statement, pointing out the goal must now be to negotiate a swift and lasting end to the war within the coming days. And so that is the message from the international community. But in terms of the dramatic turn of events we saw over the past several hours as this came to fruition, the U.S. president went from threatening to annihilate Iran to saying the U.S. will temporarily stop the bombing campaign, at least for now, and try to work towards a lasting peace deal. Of course, this is a significant de-escalation. It is incredibly fragile. It's tentative, and as we mentioned, temporary, a two-week halt in the fighting for now. As the U.S. president said on social media, Iran put forward a 10-point proposal that he initially claimed as a workable basis on which to negotiate, but then later called it fraudulent. Iran says it has accepted the ceasefire and that it would negotiate with the United States in Pakistan beginning on Friday. Some of the main points by Iran include the lifting of sanctions, the release of frozen Iranian assets, a U.S. military withdrawal, and continued Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. Here's more from Prime Minister Mark Carney on the international community welcoming the ceasefire.
I'd like to thank the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the President of the United States, the leaders of Iran for establishing this two-week ceasefire. Canada joins our allies from France, the United Kingdom, as I said in a statement a few hours ago, in supporting these efforts, and that will include efforts to support the reopening of the Straits of Hormuz.
So the two-week ceasefire at the moment buys both sides more time, as I mentioned. But in terms of where this ceasefire goes from here, Nathan, the two sides are expected to meet in Pakistan on Friday.
So, Scott, what does this mean for the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, that has been, of course, as we've seen, the critical choke point that has really impacted not just the Middle East, but the broader community and the economy, particularly when it comes to energy prices. And, of course, we've all been feeling that very acutely in Canada when it comes to how much it costs to fill up our gas tanks. So the temporary ceasefire, according to Trump, depends on the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. However, the Iranian foreign minister says ultimately still the safe passage through the strait will only be possible right now with the coordination of Iran's armed forces, and reportedly Iran and Oman will charge fees on ships to navigate the critical shipping route that ships so much of the world's oil. So really what happens, Nathan, in the next 2 weeks will be very critical, particularly when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, and also can the two sides agree to more of a lasting peace deal between the U.S., Israel, and Iran, Nathan.
All right, that is the hope. CTV National's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, Israel insists the ceasefire does not include Lebanon and says it's continuing strikes as well as ground operations against Hezbollah. Lebanon's health ministry says at least 89 people have been killed and 700 wounded in Israel's midday strikes in Beirut. Sources quoted an Iranian-backed militant group as halting fire on northern Israel and on Israeli troops in Lebanon as part of the truce. Iran's news agency cites an unnamed source saying Tehran will withdraw from the ceasefire agreement if attacks on Lebanon continue.
The deal to open the Strait of Hormuz has already led to a drop in oil prices. Here's a look at the price at the pumps across our country. Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest price at just over $2.06 a litre on average. Ontario's price currently sitting at roughly $1.81. The cheapest gas is over in Alberta, where it's selling for an average of $1.68.
Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen will receive a very special call from Earth this afternoon. He'll speak with Prime Minister Carney and Industry Minister Melanie Joly. The link-up will take place as the Artemis II crew continues its journey home after its historic mission to the moon. They completed a 6-hour lunar flyby, going farther into space than any humans before. The astronauts are scheduled to splash down off the coast of California on Friday.
Some international headlines about Newfoundland and Labrador have been met with confusion in that province.
CTV's Garrett Berry has more on the islanders speaking out to protect their reputation.
A headline so worthy of parody, Keith Muse says he just couldn't leave it alone.
The heroic passengers were stranded on this barren wasteland for multiple days.
When the BBC and People magazine wrote of one flight's air travel nightmares, they called Newfoundland a freezing Canadian island. That description didn't quite sit just right with some people in this province who are kind of famous for bringing people in when flights are grounded. The musical Come From Away about the grounded flights after the 9/11 attacks helped catapult central Newfoundland to Broadway fame.
I just don't want to hear anybody badmouthing Newfoundland. You know, you don't get stranded here. You can't get stranded in the best province in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
The British Airways flight from London was grounded for 2 days in St. John's, first for a medical emergency and then for what staff called a temporary technical issue. All the while, they didn't have access to their bags.
We are used to this, and the staff are used to getting called in the middle of the night to come and help, and they're very dedicated.
Heather McKinnon and her team at the Delta Hotel took in most of those passengers during their delay. She says hotel staff made extra runs to Shoppers or Walmart to help passengers while their bags were stuck on board.
Some were traveling for funerals, some were traveling for weddings, so that was a little frustrating, but they kept in good humor.
But that headline, the freezing Canadian island, it caught the attention of this province's tourism minister, who wrote to People magazine today, complaining the headline diminished Newfoundland and Labrador.
Andrea Barber invited magazine representatives to visit Newfoundland and see what she called world-class hospitality. Garrett Perry, CTV News, St. John's.
Well, unlike yesterday, we can't call our neck of the woods freezing today either. Here's a look at our forecast daytime highs for the afternoon. 6 degrees is what we're calling for here in Toronto. 10 is the seasonal average, so we are still a little cool for this point in April. Evening conditions look great. Overnight low about +1. Here's the thing, though. We are in for a bit of active weather tomorrow. Chance of showers midday. And then look what happens Friday. We're watching the possibility of rain versus snow. We'll show you how the models are shaping up right now after this break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Ahead of the FIFA World Cup, a new exhibition at the Aga Khan Museum is letting you get hands-on while exploring how games and sports connect people from around the world and throughout history. That's where we find CTV's Jessica Smith, who joins us live with a preview. Jess.
Well, Michelle, it's game on here at the Aga Khan Museum. And as you mentioned, we're gearing up for the World Cup, one of the biggest events we're going to see really as we head throughout this year. And the Aga Khan Museum has this fabulous exhibition called Game On. And Bita, you're the curator of the exhibition. Talk to me about how all this works and why you wanted to bring this here, because you have so many interactive pieces in this exhibition.
Thank you so much. So game belongs to everybody. So everybody plays a game, so everybody's familiar with games. So we thought it's a great topic to focus on and talk about how games connect us. I mean, brings us together across our differences or brings a conversation starter for everybody. So we thought it's a great time to focus on it. And especially with summer, we think that lots of soccer fans going to be in Toronto. So it's a great time to talk about games and their powers. And then, yes, in the exhibition, we have lots of historic works in conversation with contemporary, but also lots of hands-on, so that everybody from different age groups can come and enjoy, and it's an intergenerational exhibition.
It really is so much fun. We're gonna get up and walk a little bit. I want to show you guys one of these chess pieces, because Bita and I were talking before we came on camera, and this is one of the oldest known chess, almost complete chess sets. But I want to ask you about why you wanted to include not only the modern and kind of high-tech pieces, but some of these original artifacts as well.
So these examples are, several of them are loaned from many international and national collections to our exhibition. So they talk about the power of game not only in our time, but in how deep in the history people were engaged with these games. And then it's a means for us to talk about the history of them and how they traveled and how they engaged different communities, different time, and then they change along the way, and then they become the games and sports that we know today and we enjoy today. But then at this core, it's not about winning and losing, but it's about connecting us over the shared game.
It really is so unique to have all these different pieces, and you've got some ones that were commissioned particularly for this exhibition. How unique is it to be able to have people creating works just for you guys? Because this is a limited time kind of exhibition. People have to come out and see it.
Yes, so we are fortunate. We work with the Canadian Syrian artist and technologist Jawa El-Kash for a commissioned piece for this exhibition. So it's a work that talks about her heritage and her background, but also talks about like how these kind of echoes of the past is kind of ripples in today's world and for the future. So she looks into her heritage, into building this fantastic video game for us that people can come and engage in the exhibition.
And how long is it on for?
It's going to be on display till September 7th.
And Wednesdays from 4 to 8, it is free, which is my favorite price. So you can come today, this afternoon, when you're done obviously watching the noon show, and come and check it out. Bita, thank you so much. We're going to send things back inside to the studio.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. What a lovely day today. Compared to yesterday, we've got the sunshine. It is not as cold. Keep it coming.
Yeah, I agreed. I can, it's manageable weather. I can handle stuff like this where you're not necessarily wearing a big coat.
Yes.
Yeah, hat and gloves.
Makes a big difference, doesn't it? Tomorrow, we're going to be even warmer, so there is that. However, you might want to bring the umbrella with you as you venture out, because we do have a chance of showers. And then Friday, maybe the warmer jacket once again. But generally speaking, we are headed in the right direction temperature-wise. I think you'll like what's in store for the weekend, and especially some highs into early next week. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. We've had gorgeous sunshine right from the start today. Clear skies overnight, blue skies so far today. Might get a little bit of an increase in cloud cover as this day goes on, but other than that, expect it to be uneventful weather-wise. We become a little more active starting tomorrow and then certainly into Friday morning, but we'll get there in a moment. Let's talk temperatures. It is 2 degrees right now at Pearson Airport, +5 in Windsor, still below freezing in places like Geraldton and Timmins. More snow expected for northern parts of Ontario. It's been quite a spring in that part of our province so far, and it's 2 degrees right now in Muskoka as well as Trenton. We don't need to worry about breaking any record highs or lows today, but I will remind you of the fact that our seasonal norm is 10 degrees. Yesterday, we only made it to 1. So this is an improvement today with a forecast high of 6 degrees. +1 is what we're expecting for a low tonight. Again, mainly clear skies tomorrow. Beginning with some sunshine for the start of the day, increase in cloud cover late morning, and then this chance of showers comes early in the afternoon. Look at the expected high, 16 degrees, and it's going to be mild just about everywhere in southern Ontario. In the teens, nice and comfortable, above seasonal. We do have a couple of similar days like this in the long-range forecast too, which we will talk about in just a moment. Satellite and radar, nothing to show you. See that snow? We don't have to worry about that. That's what's going to impact our friends in northern Ontario, where, as I've been mentioning, it's been very snowy so far this spring. So not great news there. We, on the other hand, are going to get the front associated with that low swinging through tomorrow, bringing us the chance of a few showers. And then another disturbance for Friday, which brings us maybe some snow, maybe some rain. Bit of a different track today compared to yesterday. First, there's our increase in cloud cover. Showers begin east of Georgian Bay and to the south of that water area. And then there's early afternoon for us. These are weak showers. We're not looking at significant rain here. And then again, this disturbance is now tracking a little further north this time. So snow expected to be north of the GTA. And it could be a decent soaking of rain for us, though, Friday morning into the early part of the afternoon. Saturday is looking sunny. As far as rainfall amounts are concerned, maybe 5 to 10 millimeters for us. Just a heads up when it comes to snow, heads up Huntsville, Aurelia, Bancroft, maybe 5 to 10 centimeters of snow for you before Friday is finished. Here's the 7-day forecast. Let's talk about the weekend. 9 degrees and sunshine for your Saturday. Cloudier Sunday with a high of 13. Chance of showers. And then we are unsettled for Monday and Tuesday, but those highs in the teens look pretty good in my opinion. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Lindsay. The Blue Jays will be looking to avoid being swept by the Dodgers this afternoon as they try to avoid a 7th straight loss.
Runners in scoring position. It's really hard to score runs. This will help. It is down and all the way to the wall in right center.
The Jays were only able to score a single run last night, falling to the Dodgers 4-1. Manager John Schneider was ejected in the 5th inning after arguing a balk called against Kevin Gausman. First pitch for the final game of the series is set for just after 3 this afternoon at Rogers Center. Dylan Cease will take the mound for the Jays, while Shohei Ohtani gets the start for the Dodgers.
The Raptors tightened their grip on a playoff spot when they beat the Miami Heat last night.
Quickly to Mamukelashvili, back to Quick. Quick in the lane, Scotty, the two-handed monster slam.
Scotty Barnes scored 25 points as the Raptors topped the Heat 121-95. The team is holding on to the 6th and final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. The two teams will play again at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow night.
With just 5 games left in the regular season, the Leafs, back from a 4-game road trip, face off with the Washington Capitals tonight.
There's Nye scores! What a bullet from Matthew Nyes!
The Leafs are coming off a 7-6 overtime loss to the LA Kings on Saturday. Including tonight's game, the team has just 5 games left in the regular season. Puck drop for tonight's game against the Capitals is set for just after 7:30 at Scotiabank Arena.
Still to come on CTV News at noon, new research is outlining the crucial role vitamin D could play in long-term brain health. We'll have those details when we come back. New research suggests vitamin D levels in midlife could play a crucial role in longer-term brain health and preventing dementia. An Irish team looked at the vitamin D levels of nearly 800 adults with an average age of 39 years old. Then they looked at information gathered from brain scans of those same patients 16 years later. Those with lower levels of the vitamin at the outset showed more protein deposits associated with preclinical dementia. As research continues on that front, Health Canada says vitamin D plays many roles in maintaining health, including building and maintaining strong bones and teeth. The nutrient can be produced when your body is exposed to sunlight, but the agency has long recommended ensuring getting some daily by diet or supplement, especially here in Canada. The study was published in Neurology Open Access. The federal government is asking drivers whether they think LED headlights are too bright.
CAA says it's one of the top safety concerns it hears about from people on the road. CTV's Sean Varden has more.
It's just like getting a blast of sun in your face.
As LED headlights have become an auto industry standard, some drivers say they're simply too bright.
I can't see at all, and it didn't used to be like that.
Well, certainly headlight brightness has become more of an issue over the past decade, I would say, and we do hear complaints from members complaining about brightness, about the different colors of headlights.
Now Transport Canada is conducting an online survey looking for feedback about how often drivers are affected by the glare from headlights.
During the daylight time, I don't think they're too bright, but definitely during the evening, once the sun is down, it surely is.
The new headlight technology helping drivers see better at night, but it can be blinding for others on the road.
An optometrist tell me that this is becoming an increasing problem for most people because they see halos around the light, and it's making it even more difficult to maneuver through traffic and see where you're going.
For many, it's not just the lights head-on. Cars following behind can be an issue as well.
LED headlights, for me, have become a problem because they have become brighter and more pronounced, in particular when they're coming up behind you and you're stopped at a traffic light and it's nighttime. It's very hard to see what is around you or what's coming at you.
CAA supports the government survey while also offering tips for drivers caught in the glare.
When you have a new vehicle or you're getting your headlights changed, to make sure they're angled properly, make sure that they're cleaned properly, and if you need them, to get some sort of night vision glasses that are going to sort of mitigate some of the glare.
The Transport Canada survey wraps up April 20th. Sean Varden, CTV News.
Still to come, the ceasefire in Iran has had a major impact on global markets. We'll take a closer look when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
We mentioned gas prices are on the decline, but as markets react to the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, markets are heading in the other direction. Stocks rallied this morning with the Dow Jones currently up more than 1,200 points, joined by the Nasdaq at more than 600 points, and the S&P F500 leaping more than 150. On this side of the border, it was no different, with boards in the green and the S&P TSX up nearly 500 points. Markets are still below where they were before the start of the war, and oil prices are still high as uncertainty remains around what happens next.
The latest Spider-Man movie is swinging into theaters just a few months from now, but star Tom Holland is sharing details about some last-minute changes.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker.
Spider-Man Brand New Day sees Peter Parker finding his way in a world that's forgotten he exists while still facing off against new threats. In an interview published today, Holland told GQ he'd been in London to shoot some additional scenes. The actor said they were intended to add in some more humor and to help flesh out a villain's plot line. The trailer dropped last month and became the first in history to garner 1 billion views. Brand New Day hits theaters July 31st.
We've known for a while now that another season of heated rivalry is on the way, but the show's creators hinting at a longer future for the hockey romance series.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
That's not happening.
The smash hit Crave show tells the story of two pro hockey players who find themselves in an unexpected relationship. It's based on the Game Changers series by author Rachel Reed. Season 2 is due next year, covering the book, The Long Game. It'll show what's next for Ilya and Shane, played by Hudson Williams and Connor Story. But show creator Jacob Turney hinted to Deadline that there's a lot of material in the book, and it might be too much to fit into just one follow-up season. Crave and CTV are divisions of Bell Media.
Coming up, walking for a good cause. A Quebec woman is back home after her 3,000-kilometer journey across Europe in heels. We'll have more on her fundraising effort when we return. A Quebec woman is planning her next trip after walking 3,000 kilometers across Europe in heels.
As CTV's Kelly Gregg tells us, it was all part of a fundraising effort to support women in need.
When we met Dora Alcover, it was literally a walk in the park.
How much did your feet hurt at the end of the... Not that much, and that's what I can't believe it when I say it, but since I was expecting to suffer so much, I refuse to say that it even hurt.
But her 3,000-kilometer walk, documented on Instagram, was anything but.
Day 1, walking across Europe in heels.
Almost every day, she would update her followers on her journey to fight human trafficking.
We watch so much news about Epstein, about Diddy and things like that, and I think as a woman, you learn so much about sexual violence, but you feel like you can't really do anything about it.
A walk with a serious purpose that she approached with a smile.
I think when we say things in a cheerful way, a lot more people are willing to listen.
Alcover walked from Barcelona to the headquarters of Reaching Out for Romania. An organization that works to prevent human trafficking. According to the U.S. Embassy in Romania, in 2024, there were 600 cases of it in the country. Over a third involved girls.
Heels was a way to embrace femininity, to represent women, to kind of take back power on the sexualization of women.
And no matter what the footwear, it's no easy trip.
Day 65, walking across Europe. In heels, these are the 3 pairs of heels that I'm currently dealing with. First of all, trucks are going pretty fast. It's so slippery and wet.
A journey spanning 9 months and 9 countries.
Spain, France, Monaco, Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, Hungary, Serbia, Romania.
Along the way, she raised 15,000 euros for the NGO, equal to about 25,000 Canadian dollars. Alcover funded her own journey and now might need to spend a little more on a new pair of shoes.
Mostly platforms, so at least, during the walk, I think honestly stilettos would have been a bit next level for 3,000 kilometers.
She hopes to do it all over again in Canada, building on her newfound following in style.
Now I prefer almost to walk with the heels than without. That makes one of us.
Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
All right, good walking weather at least.
I know, amazing walking weather, whatever your footwear.
Yes, get outside. We encourage you to, after this show, soak up the sun and enjoy slightly warmer conditions compared to yesterday. Still a little below seasonal, but that's okay. We're headed in the right direction. One more look at the satellite and radar. Nothing really to be concerned about here, even though, yes, that is snow at the top corner of your screen, impacting our friends in northern Ontario. Tomorrow, we're going to soar all the way to about 16 degrees for a high. It's not expected to be a picture-perfect day condition-wise. We will see some cloud cover build late in the morning. A few showers fall early afternoon. And then Friday, that warmth is short-lived. We're back down around 5 for the high. Early morning temperatures will be in the low single digits, so that's why we have the opportunity for snow or rain. At this point today, it's looking a little more like a rainy morning commute for Friday. Saturday, glorious sunshine, 9 degrees, and then we are slightly above seasonal for Sunday, but expect more cloud cover that day, chance of showers, and then we are unsettled early next week. But highs around 18 and 15 degrees. That's not bad. It's a little closer to what we expect at this point in April, wouldn't you say, Nathan and Michelle?
I'll take it. Thanks, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.